Hi, I'm David Stearns, co-CEO with Haley Marketing, and welcome to this edition of SnackTime. Today we're going to be talking about social recruiting, and specifically social recruiting for passive job seekers. So when it comes to recruiting on social media, there really are two primary strategies you can employ. One is going after active talent, people who are looking for jobs. They're on social media, but they're thinking, I need a job. And we're not going to cover active talent today, but that's more about focusing on the job, the client you're serving, why work with your staffing company. But today we're going to focus on the second strategy, passive talent. People who aren't actively looking for a new opportunity, but may be enticed to take a look at job openings you have. So what do we do when we're going to talk about passive talent recruiting? Well, the first thing we have to think about is messaging. And right now, messaging is very different than it's been in years past. So the first thing we have to think about is, why should someone work with a staffing company? And very often when we're writing job posts or we're creating our websites, we go into messaging that's almost immediately about, here's why we're different as a staffing company. Well, let's start sooner. 4 out of 5 job seekers don't work with staffing companies. So the very first thing we need to do is convince them why they should work with you. Why should they trust you as a career partner? Why should they trust you with this job opportunity? Especially if you don't even tell them who the client is. So we have to give them a reason why they want to work with a staffing company in general. And then specifically now, why your company? What makes you different? How is the service experience better? Are you going to place people faster? Do they make more money? Do you provide better communication? Do you demonstrate a higher level of caring? Are you more of a resource to people throughout their careers? What makes your company unique? So you're selling both your industry as a whole, staffing, and then you're selling your value as a career coach, as a recruiting partner. And right now in the current economy here in 2021, in this market, you may also be selling people why work at all. If you place blue collar workers, if you place anybody who's at the lower end of the pay scale, thanks to pandemic incentives, a lot of people have an incentive to stay home. And so we have to give people reasons to want to get off the couch, get back to work. Part of that may just be the meaning that comes from having a job. Part of that may be the fact that now is the best time in years to get a higher pay rate. It's the best time to break into companies that people really want to work for. It's the best time for temp to hire opportunities. It's maybe just a good time to get back out of the house, back to work, because you just feel good about yourself. And long term, it's financially better to be working. But we have to sell why work now, why work with a staffing company, and why work with your company. That's the messaging. Then we got to think about how to get that messaging to people on social media. I mean, just hammering people with, take a job from us is not going to work. So we first have to think about, who do we want to reach? All the demographic profiles. Now in marketing speak, we talk about creating personas, but who are your ideal candidates? And you may have different groups. I know we deal with a lot of healthcare companies. They may have some candidates that are coming right out of a training program, college, or residency. They're beginning their career. And then at the other end of the spectrum, people who are entering their early retirement years. Both of those are ideal candidates for travel healthcare jobs. So who do you want to reach? What's your ideal candidate look like? Once you've defined that audience, how do they use social media? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on TikTok, Instagram? So I need to think about, what channels are they using and how do they use them? Example, we did a study with a company that does IT talent, and we found that almost every IT candidate was on LinkedIn, but not very often, less than once a month. A much smaller percentage were using Facebook, but those who used it were on it multiple times a week. So we need to understand the audience you want to reach, what social media are they on, and how do they use it? Because then we can think about, when they're there, how do we capture their attention and interest? What messages do we put out there? What images do we use? Do we need video? Do we need live video? Do we need to do storyboard style content where we're creating these stories with multiple images or multiple videos? Do we need strong calls to action? What's going to stand out? What's going to capture the attention of your ideal client, your community, your ideal candidate on the social channel that they're on? Also, to getting the word out, there are some strategies to consider. Should I go organic, just sharing it from our company pages? Should I pay to sponsor the content to get greater reach? Or should I get my recruiters involved in sharing content to get that team-based social sharing? Most social is going to have some form of pay to play, whether it's some form of sponsored or paid content, along with getting your team members, your recruiters involved in sharing content to maximize your reach. And how will you build trust with people? Because you're dealing with people in their careers, and it's really hard to get people to have enough confidence, enough comfort to reach out to you if they're not already actively in the job market. And it's hard to get them to be active unless they trust you. So how do you build familiarity with your brand? That comes through repetition. That comes through the way you tell stories. That comes from the way you celebrate the successes of the people in your organization. It comes from how you support your local communities. The more people become familiar with your brand and what you stand for, the more they're going to trust you. It comes from social proof, whether that's online reviews done by others, testimonials, video testimonials, awards you've won. Also, your client roster. I know you may be reticent to tell people, here's the clients we work with, but that demonstrates credibility. You're known by the company you keep, and if you've got great clients and you're allowed to use their names and their logos, tie them into your social recruiting, because when people see that you represent those organizations, it says a lot about you. And then data. How do you prove the value of your services in terms of performance metrics, like how long does it take someone to get hired? What's the probability of converting temp to full-time? Any other data you have that shows you're a great place to work and people love working for you. This is the kind of content that you want to be sharing. So again, your clients, social proof, and anything that will create familiarity with the brand and build your value the way you want to be seen. So if you've got questions about social recruiting, I know 5 minutes isn't a lot of time to cover all this, give us a call, 888-696-2900, reach out to us via email, or better yet, visit our recruiting website, www.recruitmentmarketers.com. Thank you for the time today.